increase the property tax 1 cent just to pay for a doggone air conditioning unit. Now you're wanting to cut out a few $1,000s. We don't have the flexibility to react to anything that's unforeseen. We could have equipment breakdown. The very equipment that she has budgeted in here may not be anywhere near enough for next year. We have gotten so, or I should say we, this city has gotten so doggone negligent and tight on its operational budget, some by necessity, some by clear abuse, that you don't have any flexibility at all to operate. And you're going to be the very ones that are going to sit up here next year when something goes to pieces and start questioning why it wasn't happening, and we're going to have to go back and say, well, you wanted us to cut back on operational supplies, you wanted us to cut back on equipment, then how are we going to do it? You know, you really, if you really wanted to do the right thing, like I told you before, that tax rate ought to go to 170. It ought to go back to 175 where it was before and start operating this city like a second-class city. You're not first class anywhere near it. Right now you're third class. You're never going to get from third class to second class until you start pulling the trigger and putting the money so that you can get done what you want to get done. Let's quit playing games here.
But the money doesn't.
I can't help it that the tax rate went up like this in 1 year. I can't help it that everybody was asleep at the switch for the last 6 years. But we have to, at some point, be responsible and do the right thing. I just mentioned to you all that this total expenditure budget is less than 2012. Less than 2012. We're having to cut out 19 positions because we can't pay the operational cost for those positions. $675,000. That bothers the heck out of me, and I'm sure it bothers you too. It's not fun to lay people off. But what's happened is this fiscal situation has gone to crap. And until this board gets the courage to address it, now we can spend all night nitpicking over $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, and maybe you can show on paper that you're going to drop this tax rate 2 or 3 cents. So what? What have you saved in the big scheme of things?
So what are we having a working session for then if we're not going to talk about these things?
Well, I thought that you wanted to talk about, as I mentioned, bigger issues. I don't think you have enough money in there for paving. Is the board willing to go higher?
I'm not done yet.
That's a pretty big issue.
Okay. My next question is on, I know that you've got in here the 32,000